All right, so we got what, probably 800 some odd anonymous listeners on this one because they're just not, they're a little queasy to have this uncomfortable conversation. I'm gonna lay down some laws for you guys, some natural laws that a lot of people are not privy to, especially the young saplings, the guys who have not really been battle tested. Everyone's gonna get splashed with torrential downpour in this upcoming bull run. We all know that. And there's a lot of motherfuckers who have a tremendous amount of front-loaded euphoria for all the money they're gonna get their hands on. Here's the reality. Let me give you some stone cold truth for a second. 5%, 5% of the cannibalistic proto-hominids with big bags deployed in this market are gonna make out like bandits. The other 95% of you are gonna get mauled. And when I say mauled, I truly mean you're gonna get your intestines torn out in this bull market. Because as I just illustrated and illuminated for you in my last tweet, what you don't understand is how arduous navigating and surfing the markets really are. And this is any market, by the way, very broad. Feel free to extrapolate this into any market. It's this, the principles are all the same. The guys that have the actual stone clodding vice grips on their plays, the guys who genuinely are not paper handed, the motherfuckers who can literally brave the category 5 hurricanes and the derechos and the blizzards and withstand the craziest natural disasters and hold on to their investments through it all and come out the other end a winner. I don't think you guys understand the mental psychology, the mental fortitude these motherfuckers have earned in the arena. I'm talking decades. There's fucking pros out there who've been cracking at this for decades that still are refining their character. Because as I've illustrated before, the market ain't PvP. The market is a test of your own character because it reveals your vulnerabilities, it reveals your weaknesses. And the reason why I say that is because the market is a force of nature, just like any other force of nature, meaning it has its own soul, it has its own lifeblood. Do you understand? When a bull run is about to commence, there is no counter force on earth that can stop that from igniting, right? It don't matter what fucking Zuckerberg or Bezos did or said or how much stock they sold. It doesn't matter if inflation is up 200 motherfucking percent. When a bull's gonna pop, a bull's gonna pop, and there's nothing that can stop it. Okay? So a market, any market, has a complete fucking soul and life of its own. And when it's ready to ignite and the wick is down to its last nub, the gunpowder is going to set off. Okay, now this is ominous because this is obviously what's clearly going to happen relatively soon. But here's the problem. The OG Playcallers, the guys who are very well prepared in advance, who've been scouring and scanning and tinkering in the lab, literally like medieval scryers, like screeds, fucking in the lab with their fucking chemist flasks, who've been through numerous cycles of boom and bust, lost everything 100 times, been slaughtered, been tampered with, had their psychology tested, their Achilles heels revealed. These are the motherfuckers who are able to break the horses, to tame the horses, because that's ultimately what navigating a market is. You're riding a fucking horse. And the guys in all these fucking telegrams and discords, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the motherfuckers that are making the true play calls, the guys who actually see into the future, Their conviction is completely unflappable because they've been here, done it 1,000 times. So it doesn't matter if God floats down and levitates on a fucking cloud and tells them it's not going to happen. They don't believe you. They don't believe a goddamn word you have to say. They don't give a fuck what CNN says. They don't give a fuck what anybody says because they hold this conviction near and dear to their heart. So they're going to be able to hold and they're going to be able to exit perfectly. Now here's where the issues really start to crop up. The OG play caller sets alight a rumor. The rumor spreads. And the lower that rumor trickles to all the morons on Twitter that are aping in because they see everybody else doing it, the weaker the conviction and the weaker the confidence. You have no fucking clue why you're holding what you're holding. You have no clue when to exit. You're panic stricken the entire motherfucking time. You're battling your demons. You're refreshing the market every day like a crackhead because you're fucking terrified of your position. You don't have your own ideas. You didn't develop your own fucking due diligence. You have no idea why the fuck you're doing what you're doing. You just saw some other vulture motherfucker at the top telling you what to do. So yes, you are going to 100% get clapped. There are many motherfuckers probably in this space right now who will be freshly minted millionaires during this bull run. By the end of it, you're going to be at zero because your character is going to be revealed. You have no idea why you developed the theory that you did. So your hands are going to be trembling. Your hands are going to be weak. You're going to be in a fucking torpor. And that's what's going to happen. And it's what's happened since the dawn of time in any market. 5% make off. The other 95% get fucking wrecked. Mutilated. Because the guys that are tried and true, I don't think you guys can even understand or fathom the level of dedication to their craft. These motherfuckers are scouring the market every minute of every fucking day with their blood and soul. To them, they're not even investing just their money. They're literally investing their soul. It's a spiritual thing to them. So they've earned the stone grips that they have. You understand? Meanwhile, you're over here, you're like the 30th motherfucker who aped in, and you are paper mache, my friend. You are paper mache. You got wax hands, melting. And it's like this in everything. It reminds me of the phenomenon in game when game first hit the dating markets. Motherfuckers would remember all these slick one-liners, all these canned one-liners. I know dudes that studied cover to cover these books, and they would literally have a canned line for any situation to be fucking suave. And what it led to an inbox full of DMs of those same motherfuckers then getting themselves in a jam where they're in a conversation with a woman and they don't know what to say anymore. If I could show you guys how many motherfuckers have sent me a screenshot of a text message between them and a woman and they are stumped. They literally don't know what to say and they'll ask for my advice on how to respond. Same fucking concept. Didn't develop your own ideas. You have zero experience in the actual field itself. And then you find yourself in a jam and you have no magic. You got no way to bail yourself out. And now you got to lean on another man to give you advice, which I would never fucking give in the first place because I don't believe in putting band-aids on shit. You know what I mean? I can give you the most slick escape line of your life. It's not going to do a goddamn thing for you because in 10 minutes you're going to be in the same position. So it's incredible how life works and all these things intersect and tie in perfectly. Perfectly. And this is the trap of just blindly following the rumors. Even in philosophy, even in the things that you believe. If you don't go out there and actually fucking test it yourself in the arena, marred with blood and soot caked in your fucking pores, How do you genuinely think you're going to pull anything off? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's interesting. The lower the rumor settles, the lower that confetti falls from the sky, the last guy to pick up the crumb of the rumor has the weakest confidence. And you could follow this chain up the ladder. The confidence gets higher at the top and it gets weaker at the bottom. It's the last guy who jumps in, right? The grenade always blows up in his hands. Always does. Fucking grist for the mill today that you guys got to fucking chew on. Let's bring up a question. Yo, Neo. Neo.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What you said, Brute, it's actually goes in line what you keep saying. The same with dating market. Why those pickup artists they keep failing?
Bro,
That's because
I can't decide for the accent, man. I got to keep it moving.
okay, sure.
Yo, Jamil.
How you doing, boss?
What's up, bro?
My question, so you're saying the creation of rumors is really like that's the biggest display of confidence that you could have when you're creating these rumors, when you're showing like creating truth, that's when you know that a motherfucker really has that ironclad confidence, right?
100%. Well, everybody else perceives it as a rumor, but you're the only crazy motherfucker, like the mad scientist who knows in your heart that what you're saying is actually like an immutable law. But to everybody else, yeah, of course it appears like a rumor.
No, absolutely. So would you say that when you hang with people, right, not just that are confirming and validating the philosophy that you lay down as law, when you have them negating it and you see that as nothing but an affirmation, would that be infinitely more constructive than having a group of people that validate your own philosophy? Because you're constantly putting yourself in this situation where you have to overpower their mistrust, I guess you could say,
I
or
think so.
their disagreement.
I think so. I think that's a little bit of an abstract concept, but you see this a lot in nature actually. You see when you get really good at what you do and you have this cockiness and this arrogance because you just have so many hours under your belt. So there's really nobody that can kind of push you off your conviction. Any kind of hate or any kind of like counterpoised or countervailing theories that come your way, you're just gonna sort of see it as flattery and sort of as like an affirmation. And it's funny because it's like I've said, the universe really does work off of reverse psychology. It's really the same fucking thing in a nuclear family. You'll see a kid you'll see a kid with a sibling, and you'll see one of those kids gets a lot of flack, and he's the one who takes the bulk of the criticism, and his parents are always telling him he's fucking rowdy, he doesn't follow directions. That's the winning kid, always. That kid is the winner, and he gets picked on and he gets chewed out by the parents because essentially what they're doing is they're validating that he is an outlier, but they also have this natural impulse to test his conviction and test his confidence. Unfortunately, most kids that grow up in that environment do get broken. It breaks the spirit. And it's ironic because when people are doting on the other kid, when the parents are doting on him, that's usually the weaker child. And they sort of have this subliminal sense that he's the weaker one, so he needs more coddling. It's always the dude who's gonna break all the barriers and smash the fucking genetic quotients and what you're supposed to be on paper. That's the guy who just gets challenged from an early age. And that never goes away. So it's like as you get older, when you see everybody in your relationship life validating your ideas, it's usually a bad sign. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like you want
Absolutely.
pushback. You want a lot of pushback. You want to be labeled a heretic if you're crazy enough to deal with the pressure and the stress because everyone's always going to look at you like you're insane before you win. And I think a lot of
Zero
guys
doubt.
are afraid to be in that hot seat. And so they end up kind of bending and they end up kind of filtering back to the status quo. But I've always noticed that in nature. Like a parent will always have this one kid who they just can't tame. And they will tell you that's their problem child and they're worried about him and he's the one who causes them sleepless nights. But that's always their best kid.
No doubt. That resistance is the greatest nourishment. Like it's counterintuitive, it's paradoxical in every aspect. Like you've spoken about this before where like the greatest relationships it's constant war. Or you have the way to nourish that sort of genius or that ability to be an outlier and be successful. They're always going to have that sort of doubt, but they still have that confidence, that understanding that you're doing it, but they'll never show you.
Dude, 100%. It's the same. It's literally, dude, all these mechanisms are all the fucking same. It's across the board. It's insane. Like, it's the same reason why men will be mean to hot women. Because no one ever wants to directly validate your strength. Everyone wants to neg you and everyone wants to try to knock you off a peg because people are terrified to truly acknowledge other people's like true strengths and gifts. It's the same fucking
Yep.
thing. Like a cocky motherfucker in the male form is not only holds more power, but is sort of the equivalent, the antithesis of the hot chick, because he's just gonna get negged all the time in the same way that a hot chick does,
Yep.
and that like you'll know from a very early age if you got it or not. I believe that. Like when you're a kid, you get a lot of pushback from everybody, teachers, principals, deans, everyone fucking telling you that you're not doing things the right way. It's the cocky motherfuckers who make it through all that that truly end up being the biggest winners. The ones who don't fold.
Fully agree. It's the people that constantly, they're, oh, this person has ADHD. This person can't sit in the classroom and stay still. We got to medicate this motherfucker, or we got to separate them. We got to give them detention. They're deviating from the norm. And that deviation from the norm, if you're able to be stubborn enough and really, really just root yourself in the fact that you are different and not see any difference because you know that your truth that you have created and understood on your own volition is infinitely more valid than what a million people are parroting, that shows you that you have a genuine understanding. And like another
Bingo.
form of this counterintuitive validation is anti-optimization, as you've spoken about it. Like the worst thing that you can do to really nourish yourself as a man is create 100% accommodating circumstances. You want to be putting yourself in that zombified limbo where you're in terrible condition. You have to create it for yourself. So every form of nourishment is going to take its manifestation in resistance or pushback.
100%. Very well said.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Lifting Zoomer.
Hey, bro, how's it going? Just wanted to quickly ask you, like as a team brings in some people, and you kind of mentioned that winners don't just hang out with winners. So wanted to ask, how do you do a litmus test for the people you let into your circle versus people you kind of keep out?
So I don't have any criteria for that. And I think it's sort of a unique thing, but I've noticed it in myself and I've also noticed among other people that typically do well is I'm really not too good to talk to anybody. That's why I enjoy doing the spaces and that's why I enjoy the Q&A because I'm just intrigued by how people operate. And so when there's motherfuckers up here rambling about nonsense and people in the audience get agitated, I'm fascinated by it. I am fascinated by the way people's minds tick and work. So when people come up to the pulpit and they say dumb shit, for me, it's extremely fucking entertaining. But it's the same in my personal life. I'll tell you something. I've noticed the most loyal motherfuckers will give you the shirt off their back and literally go to war for you and die for you are the dudes who usually had the most fucked up childhoods and are extremely traumatized. Like the quote unquote losers. These guys make the best fucking soldiers, the best infantrymen, if they're under the tutelage of someone they actually respect. You give these motherfuckers a mission, they will go all out and they will accomplish great feats in life. But what's bizarre is if you hand everything to them on a silver platter and show them the roadmap for themselves, like you could literally give them all the material to spin wheat into gold for themselves, they can't make heads nor tails of it. They really just don't know what to do with all the material. I know tons of guys like this. A lot of guys who literally they have the world in their lap, but for whatever reason, they're just not self-motivated and they can't make anything of it. But once they shack up with someone who has a little bit more experience or who has been a little bit more field tested, they have an accelerated growth and learning curve. And I've noticed this a lot. So yeah, it's absolutely fucking idiotic, this prescription to say, oh yeah, shack up with 5 killers in a fucking Airbnb and get to work. It's like people don't understand that natural born winners really don't like to share. They're very selfish. So you end up with just a bunch of chiefs, not enough Indians, and it's like I'd rather work with a dude who is classically a loser, because true leadership, by the way, you can turn anybody into a winner. And that's the real challenge in life. You know what I mean? I like to think that anybody that I've worked with, I can bring out the best in them. I could probably bring out the worst in them as well. But I can definitely fucking find their talent and I can bring out the motherfucking best in them. And I think that's one of the best aspects of life is like if you view yourself as someone in the power position, yo, can you mute that mic? Appreciate it. When you're in the power position and you're in the driver's seat in life, you really can mold. You see how sculptable life is. Like you can literally mold people and absolutely make them take the shape of the vessel that you're driving forward. And I've noticed that this 100 times. Like if I invest any time in someone, they're always gonna bring out their best character. Always. I've just never seen it not happen. So I'd rather work with those guys and obviously have a fucking pipeline and a circle of killers and winners. But I think you need all of it. I think you need all of it. And if, in fact, I'm positive you do. Because I've noticed this. Everyone at the top, or like all the high achievers, they all have little underlings and fucking right hand men. I mean, there's a reason why all these labels are born. There's a right hand man, there's a second hand man, there's ranks. But everyone has utility. And I just want to emphasize again that true leadership is really being able to work with anybody. Like I'm a guy who really I like to work with the toughest cases. You know what I mean? Like if I was a psychologist and I was gonna sit down in a room, I want the toughest, roughest cases put before me because I feel like I can work with these people. I can work with the toughest cases in the world. Even when I was doing, a lot of you guys don't know this, I have kind of a background in like grassroots physical therapy. It's one of my latent talents. I'm extremely educated when it comes to biomechanics and how the muscles work and fucking movement and repairing knees, backs, all that shit. I can do all that shit till kingdom come. And when I would treat people for a couple years in my early 20s, it was like a little side hobby that I had. I always wanted the toughest cases. I wanted motherfuckers with sciatic nerve pain, nerve damage, who doctors were barking in their fucking ears telling them they need surgery. I was like, bring these guys to me because I'll fix it. So I've just always been a motherfucker who wants to work with the toughest fucking cases, the toughest nuts to crack, because I've always seen it as a challenge and I know that I can work with these people. Like everybody is salvageable from what I have seen. I've literally never seen a truly lost cause. I haven't seen it. It's just that if under the right guidance, everybody can fucking perform at insane levels.
Makes sense, 100%. But in my industry, I need like one high trust individual on my team. Like, how do I make sure that that's the right guy for me?
One high trust individual on your team. I mean, dude, that's actually the fucking X factor here. That's the difficult part. Is your gravitational pull being so strong that you find that type of guy. And that's sort of where the dice roll plays a part in this. I mean, this is kind of a game of craps. Like who you're going to run into, the types of mentors and types of people you're going to come across. That's where the stochastic game of chance. That's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to spin the roulette wheel on that one.
Roger that.
Of
Thanks, bro.
course. Yo, Jackson. Jack's on. Wavy Crockett.
Yo, what's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
So I'm just talking about like kind of leaning into your nature a little bit. I think I kind of found partially like why I like the way I tick, and it all comes from like being shorter as a kid, and now it's like just that very competitive nature, like maybe very exceeding sports and strive to do better. But can you turn that off, or are you just stuck with that for life?
The chip on the shoulder. Can you turn that off?
Yeah, just in some ways, like I feel like outside of sports, like just you can kind of like take a tough view on life and like the way you view things, and maybe like kind of like the way you talk about Tate, just like changing your perspective on things, and just kind of like always having that chip on your shoulder does kind of like make you tick, different than most people.
Yeah. Why would you want to remove that?
I mean, not remove it, but like just not have it going at all times. Just kind of like burn the candle on both ends.
Well,
Uh,
that's the whole fucking game. Is you got to pick one. You really got to pick one. If you're a maniac and you have trauma and you plaster over the trauma by building this sort of extraterrestrial persona, you really don't have a choice but to quadruple down on that. Because once you get caught halfway and you're tepid and you're half-hearted, you're gonna get rocked. You're gonna get absolutely fucking rocked. See, look, my theory truly is that if you stick to the persona long enough, it gels. It gels and it coagulates, and those things are now indistinguishable. So what I'm saying is, I do think there's a melting point with persona where it actually does meld into the actual core personality, and then you actually become that sort of like supra character that you're because honestly, dude, everything is kabuki theater. I've talked about this. Everything is performance art. The life truly is a stage. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says about authenticity, being a man. Every man has picked a persona to essentially defend their core. A man's core is really never really going to be revealed. It gets revealed through desire. But there's a harsh shell, this masculine shell that 100% gets paved over the core, and that's for protection reasons. I mean, nobody would be able to handle the emotional abuse of life if we didn't have these defense mechanisms kick in. I mean, it goes back to my theory, which I think is fucking sharper than anything Richard Dawkins ever came with, which is that I said that any talent that you have is genuinely coming from a defense. There was some injury, there was some micro trauma. It could be something so fucking. I don't give a fuck who you are, how natural you think you are. Everybody has this, where this defense mechanism kicks in from any kind of humiliation, and it could be at the molecular level. And now you have to be the smartest, most voracious motherfucker in the game to prevent ever feeling that pain again. This is 100% how animals work, in my opinion. Everything is a defense mechanism. Everything. Some people
yeah,
have to develop sharp, keen senses because they had to navigate an abusive household. So they become phenoms at pattern recognition and seeing why people behave the way they do and being able to read between the lines and see little fucking jabs and snarky behavior in other people. Those people had to learn that as a survival mechanism to survive abuse. You know what I'm saying? You don't get geniuses randomly. Nature's not that kind. Nature is not that motherfucking kind. Nature is benevolent in many ways, but when it comes to true talent and people that stand out, it was always a defense from pain. Always. Anyway,
yeah.
I
That's
appreciate your
that's
question.
yeah. Thanks for having me on. Peace.
Yo, Craig. Establishing a nice pattern here of every other motherfucker getting stage fright.
Hello, Brute.
Yo,
I'm sorry, my mic was off.
all good, bro. Talk to
I
us.
was wondering, after watching this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce fiasco, in your opinion, is the
So
NFL
gay.
rigged? Is I was
So gay. Yes, let me tell
well,
you something. Let me tell you something about the Super Bowl, okay? Joe Biden will go down as the greatest president in world history for one reason, okay? Follow me here. Under the command of Joe Biden, they literally, because all entertainment is downstream of politics, okay?
sure.
They'd been telling you, the public, the general public, they'd been blaring it on the loud horns for months that the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl. Any ordinary motherfucker could have liquidated every motherfucking thing to their name, walked into a sports book, and doubled their net worth on that game, guaranteed. The commoner could have done this. Under no president in history have you seen a welfare relief package to that scale. They literally, the media fucking told you for months that if you put every fucking dollar to your name on the Chiefs, you are going to double your money. That's better than anything FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, any fucking great deal he put together does not rival or compare to the fucking free money that was on the table in that game. Yes, of course it's fucking rigged. Of course.
I love
100%.
it.
The
I
only
wish
thing I'm surprised about in that game is that when Kelsey scored a touchdown, he didn't drop on one knee and ask her to marry him live on camera. That was the only shocker to me because I felt like that would have been the finishing touch that would have captured the hearts of these fucking melancholy, sobby Americans.
agreed.
But
I
bro,
wish
what a welfare relief package that was, and it went over everybody's heads.
I agree. Do you mind if I ask one more question?
Go for it.
So I think I see this a lot online. I think it's easy to get sort of this guru syndrome for young men, especially seeking advice, whether it's a guy like you or Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate or Hermosi. And I was wondering your thought on this, where somebody is sort of lionizing might be so detrimentally opposed to the true nature of that person, because we're speaking about following your North Star. I was wondering your thoughts on that.
My thoughts on just the phenomenon in general.
Just, I guess, where young men will sort of seek out a particular guru, and that might actually be detrimental to their own North Star. You know what I'm saying?
100%. But what's your question? Because I mean, this has just been going on since the dawn of time. I mean, this is what humans do. Most humans are here for the entertainment aspect. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's why you can give away. That's why I can give away free knowledge left and right and center all day till I die. I can get up here and drop gem after gem after gem after gem. Less than 1% is going to apply it. So there's no point in me even gatekeeping.
I agree with you. Can I, on that regard, what would you say to a youngster who doesn't even know what their mission might be? Because I agree 100% with you on you speak a lot about mission, and
Well,
I
first
I'm
of all, you cannot find your mission. Your mission finds you, and it finds you at a stress point where you no longer have an option to change. Where your back is against the wall and you're so disgusted with your position and your station in life that your body literally feels like it's fucking dying. And so it's gonna birth you some sort of mission to hack and slash your way out of it. There's no shortcut to this. No one can fucking give you your mission. It's not heritable. It's born out of absolute dire straits and necessity.
I agree with that. Right on. Oh, I
And
appreciate.
and I'll give you another caveat to that. In the modern world, it I believe is born from some sort of financial pressure.
Absolutely.
Is that it?
That is all. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep. Always right, never wrong. Hold on, I got fucking leaf blowers outside my. This is ridiculous. Give me a second. It's the most heinous invention of all time, a fucking leaf blower. Yo! You guys go home. Yeah, we're done for the day. Take a hike. I need it quiet in here. Thank you. Yo. Always right, never wrong. Motherfucker dropped out. Apollo.
Yo,
Apollo, you're
bro,
up.
can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, so assuming that you mentioned the crypto stuff, how would you approach it from the perspective of being a newbie in it? Like you just post some positions, you lose some money,
Yeah, I
you
mean
just learn.
that's the other side of the coin is there's obviously value in the experience of being a tyro where you're going to go in there and get obliterated. This is what I'm talking about. This is how you end up cultivating the type of personality that ends up being fucking resilient. So yeah, I mean, most people are going to have to go in here and take some gunshots to the chest. That's just how it's going to be. And if you're a newbie, there's really no way around it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I had a video where I told you, I said every man in their life at one point is going to get zeroed out. Some people get zeroed out a handful of times, 36 times. It's going to happen. And there's a reason why every successful motherfucker has been zeroed out at one point or
Yeah.
another.
Do you mind if I
Part of
go
the
with a
game.
follow-up?
It's part of the game. What?
Do you mind if I go with a follow-up?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you mentioned that you have to be like zeroed out several times. I've been like through one business idea, it failed. The second one, business idea, the third one, and like I don't know why, but I just have to like keep pushing, and it's just driving me insane. And I don't want to how to like approach the breakthrough in it. It's just I'm like smashing my head against the wall, and it's just quite difficult. I know any thoughts on it. Like maybe you'll just regurgitate your philosophy, but
Yeah, I mean, we're all banging our heads against the wall, man. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's why the brain is the most fucking durable organism in the known universe because it just takes so many iterations to figure this shit out. It just does, and it's like in order to break those horses and tame those horses, like I always say, you gotta fall quite a bit. You just have to. It's literally it's a fucking rite of passage. It's a rite of passage to fucking blow up your net worth. It has to happen at one point or another. I'm
th-
100% thoroughly convinced of it.
thank you.
Yeah, man. I gotta run.